Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today?
Good, good. We haven't done this in a while, right?
I know we missed a week.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Like,
Oh, okay.
well, I mean, I did say we, but then I also, so for me, it's half a month. Okay, I'm missing the bros.
I gotta say, man, like even though I missed only 1 week, I miss doing this 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's like therapeutic.
Exactly, and the boys are back in town.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So what's on the agenda for today?
We got so much to talk about and a lot to catch up on because we missed last week. So we're going to jump right into it. But for anyone who does not want to listen to what we're talking about in order and are watching this after or listening to this after the fact, the timestamps are going to be down below in the descriptions. So just click on them to get to the topic that you want. And the first topic is it's got to be talked about because it came out. Doctor Strange 2 trailer 2. I'm gonna give a quick review. My mouth was on the floor from the beginning of that trailer to the end, and I definitely was like, I was like a child watching Saturday morning cartoons all over again with just this trailer, and like, bros, I cannot wait for this movie to come out. Like, we just saw No Way Home and we loved it, but like now I need to watch this. So now I don't know what you guys think. T, let's start with you. What did you think of the Doctor Strange 2 trailer?
So I'll be honest, after watching Spider-Man No Way Home and seeing the initial trailer at the end of the credits, I wasn't super excited about it. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I loved the first Doctor Strange, and I loved him showing up in like Infinity War and of course in Endgame. But when I saw that trailer, I was kind of like underwhelmed, I guess you would say. And then I saw this trailer and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited again. This looks fantastic. There's a lot of shit in here." I was kind of like trying to pick, like, I still don't really understand what is going on because I'm not super familiar with Doctor Strange outside of what I know of him from the movie, from the MCU. But yeah, even still, it's got me hyped. I didn't even, so again, spoilers for anyone who's watching or listening. Well, I mean, I don't think it's really much of a spoiler if you've seen the trailer, but I didn't pick up on the fact the first time that I watched it that it was Professor X's voice.
No,
because I was like so enamored by everything else that was going on, and like I don't think they don't actually show him, right?
No.
You just hear his voice, and so I didn't actually pick up on it the first time I watched it. And then I'm going through TikTok and I'm seeing all these people talking about Professor X is coming, Professor X, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I'm like, what did I miss? And I had to go back to the trailer. And I'm like, oh shit, that's his voice. So that has me even more excited because I don't know anything about the like Illuminati in the MCU universe kind of thing. So I'm not too sure. I don't know anything about it. I just like, based off of what I've seen from TikTok, I know who sits at each seat.
Yeah.
So that has me excited, and I'm hearing word that this is kind of their plan to how they want to introduce mutants into the MCU, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I'm on board, man. I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see how it all unfolds. It seems like they're setting up, well, not seems like, because we kind of knew that this was coming, but they're setting up Scarlet Witch to be the villain, which is pretty cool. I'm excited to see that and see them go fisticuffs and whatnot. The fact that it's being directed by Sam Raimi, that's dope. So yeah, a lot of good things. I'm hearing a lot of, as always is the case, I'm hearing a lot of like rumor mill things happening that also has me excited because I'm like, oh shit, that's interesting. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing so far. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic movie. And 2022, man, damn, like it's packed.
Phase 4 is not fucking around.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, I'm hyped for it.
Darth?
Yo, so first off, I was just like watching the trailer in the background. Like I've seen it before, but I wanted to watch it again. And as Tactix is talking, the hype music, I was just like, I was just like, he was hyping Tactix so hard for me. And then like I stopped, and then it was like pretty much time for Tactix to stop talking. I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize how much that was getting me. Yeah. So obviously, like first off, let's go with Patrick Stewart. Like what? Like what? Like okay, is now my worry with that though is that he's going to be cast as something else, right? And then we're going to be like, yeah, like that's my worry, right? Like
You're right. Like the trailers do lie to us.
Yeah, and it's like he could be Professor X, he could be something else, and like, what is this council that Professor X would be on? Is that a thing? I don't know enough about Marvel's universe to know if there's
You
a
don't know about the Illuminati,
bro.
Sorry.
Do you know the two of us that ain't on the comic books like you are, bro? Yo, has it happened in the MCU yet? No. Have I seen it in an animated TV show? No, I don't know that.
Well, actually, I'm a little surprised it's not in the animated series. But like then again, like I don't see the animated series is better than I do. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't mean like the X-Men animated, but I mean like in the rest of the Marvel. Like I just haven't seen that much crossover, and even when it has been, it's been like mostly just Wolverine. But yeah, so like I don't know about that, but I'm just hoping, I definitely think it's gonna be dope for Scarlet Witch. There was a scene where it looked like Captain Marvel was flying through at Scarlet Witch in the trailer, or
so there's a lot of debate over that. If it's Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, or Superior Iron Man. I thought, like when I first saw it, I thought it was Human Torch, and then like then everyone's like, it's not Human Torch. I'm like, fine. But then like if people are like, oh, it's Captain Marvel, just like you're saying, and then people are like, no, we think that it's like Monica Rambeau, and I'm like, and then people are like, or it could be Tom Cruise's Superior Iron Man. I'm like, oh shit.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure where that's gonna go. Overall, I'm like really excited for this, just on the basis that there's like a lot, potentially going on here. That the fact, yes, Sam Raimi too, that like it feels like it's gonna be bigger than or as big as like the Spider-Man film. And I just want to see where it goes. Overall, like when it comes to like Doctor Strange stuff, I enjoy it, and I'm a little bit more wait to see it because there's always so much craziness happening that I'm just kind of like, I just want to show up for the ride and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. So like I'll say, so just picking up on Courtney's comment, she was saying that her partner thinks that it could be Jubilee. That'd be an interesting choice. Me personally, it was nice for a moment when I thought it was Human Torch. Like I lived in a world where like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men were going to show up in Doctor Strange, but like, yeah, I think it makes more sense that it's probably like Captain Marvel or Monica Rambeau. It could potentially Monica Rambeau makes sense because she was in WandaVision. So like, especially if Wanda is going to become like the main threat as we think that she's going to be. But to be honest, like watching the trailer makes me feel bad for Wanda. Like she just like I liked what she says. Like you break the rules and you're a hero, but like I break the rules and I'm the bad guy, and it doesn't seem fair. And like this just looks like her mental state is just fracturing. And it's just not cool. Now, also, there's the element of like making the female character have a mental breakdown as opposed to a male character. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, I love Elizabeth Olsen and I love Wanda, and like I'm really enjoying this storyline. But okay, so Darcy, just to let you know, and for any of our audience members who don't know, the Illuminati is essentially it's like a group of the leaders of the heroes. So it's Iron Man, Black Panther, or like traditionally it was Iron Man, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Namor, Professor Xavier, and oh my God,
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic and Black Bolt.
Interesting.
But so some rumors are that Tom Cruise potentially is going to be Superior Iron Man, which is why we have those like Iron Man those what you call it,
Ultron.
Yeah. Those all from us because it's kind of like poking around, but also Loki is supposed to be in it, so he could be one of the Illuminati possibly.
Hmm.
And I think like people are hoping that John Krasinski will be like casted as as Reed Richards for this, which would be cool. But yeah, like we're all just I cannot wait to see the Illuminati.
So I got.
And
Sorry,
yeah,
I was taking it as an opportunity there. I thought I'm hyped here. Question: How do you think? So like, unlikely that we probably get X-Men and Fantastic Four at the same time. Maybe we get one person at most from like one or the other if one is the dominant, right? Like if
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is dominant, we get one X-Men, right? But like, how do you think that this is going to work? As in, it's going to be a clash of just people in the multiverse ending up in one universe, kind of like what DC was trying to do with their TV show, where it's just kind of like, and now this is the one universe kind of thing. People are just going to port over into this universe and get stuck here. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Or do you think that we're going to get some kind of thing where like the X-Men exist in this universe, the Avengers, like the MCU we know, exist in this universe, and they cross back and forth between different properties at different times for different reasons? Like, what do you think is likely?
I think I think two things from me personally. I subscribe to potentially two theories. One, Wanda will create the mutants. It's kind of like the reverse of what happened in House of M comic book, where she was the reason why all the mutants disappeared. So she could, instead of saying, no more mutants, which is like the famous line she said before she wiped out all of mutant kind, she says, like, bring on the mutants, something like that. Or she's trying to find her kids, and like the kids exist in the mutant world, and she, instead of having like this, like us following like the multiverse, she kind of brings two worlds together into one, kind of like what you were saying.
I kind of feel like the second is kind of likely. Like, so I feel like what they just did with Doctor Strange and this kind of gives me an interesting idea. So you take like what Doctor Strange just did for Peter Parker, right? And like that's not a good idea, but we don't think that Doctor Strange is going to be the one that creates maybe the next problem. But what if Wanda now is like seeking her children, and for whatever reason they consult with each other, and then she starts to pull like the same problem that Doctor Strange created with Peter, but on a bigger scale, and because she's just looking for her children, there's nothing to stop her, right? Like from her perspective, it's all out, and so she'll keep pushing it to the point that like where Doctor Strange will be like, yo, no, we can't do this, right? She just goes like, nope, and just reaches out into the universe, gets what she wants to get, and in the process clashes and breaks things.
It's possible. Like honestly, the thing that I love about things right now is like literally anything is possible. True. And it can go in any direction, and we like and also we don't know how much this trailer is lying to us, because guys, we know that Marvel fucking lies to us a lot
for good reason. For good reason.
But like, yeah, so I don't know. How about you, T? What do you think could be the case?
Bro, I have no idea. Like, you guys are speculating all this stuff, and I'm just kind of like, I'm just waiting to watch the movie, because I'm not even gonna try and guess. I couldn't even conjure up an idea if I wanted to. I'm just, yeah, because I don't know anything about the Illuminati. I didn't really know anything about Wanda's whole thing about the mute, like, you know, getting rid of the mutants. Like, I kind of know a little bit about the House of M based off of what you told me, Umar, but not in it. Like, it's all a jumbled mess in my brain right now. So yeah,
I need to send you more YouTube videos.
Yes, you do. But
yeah, you send me those videos too, bro. I want to see more.
Yeah. Aside from that, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what I'm speculating. I'm kind of just more immersed in hearing about the speculations. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, rather than like conjuring up my own. So I'm kind of like, this is not my wheelhouse. So I'm taking a step back and just enjoying.
Okay, then let me rephrase and ask you both a question. So I remember kind of like what you were saying, Tactics. Like for Spider-Man: No Way Home, you love the speculation aspect, and you had things you were hoping that would happen.
Yeah.
Obviously. So for this movie, what are you hoping? Who are you hoping will show up? And same question to you, Darcy, when we get to it.
So I obviously we know that Fantastic Four is coming. It'd be interesting to see at least Reed Richards in this. If that is the case, I think that'd be really awesome. Played by John Krasinski for sure. I definitely want to see the mutants. I've heard rumors of Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yo, I haven't heard those.
I mean, I don't know how. Again, these are all speculation and fan theories, right? So, who's to say what's truthful, right? But I honestly don't. I would love to see that happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen. There's been rumors of Deadpool showing up. That kind of confuses me because I don't see how he really fits into this narrative right now.
He's gonna be the new Stan Lee.
What? Deadpool's gonna be the new Stan Lee? In what respect?
In the fact that he just shows up in everything for like 1 second.
Yeah, but okay, but I feel like so are they gonna take it like they're gonna make it like kind of hokey and like use him as kind of like a joke in every
I think
scene?
so.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about that because if we're like I know Marvel is generally used to being like lighthearted and fun and like they add their humor in there. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I feel it could work, but I'm iffy about it. I'm very iffy about it. So yeah, but to answer your question, yeah, I'd love to see the mutants show up at some point in this.
Yeah.
And aside from that, I don't know. I don't know what else. I love the spiritual aspect that they gave us in the first Doctor Strange movie. I'm hoping that they kind of get into that a little bit more again. But again, I don't feel like at this point, I feel like so much has happened within the MCU. I don't know if they're really going to fixate so much on
the spiritual.
The spiritual stuff that I appreciated from the first movie. If they don't, it's not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker, but it will be something I'd love to see explored a little bit more in that regard. So, yeah.
Darce, same question.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. Sorry, it sounds like I said disagree. I disagree with what Tactix said. I would love to see Fantastic Four. I would love to see X-Men. How do I put this? I don't really want the old X-Men, like the actors from it.
Oh no, yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
like,
want a fresh batch.
Even though I like bring Patrick Stewart, I don't really want him in that role.
Start it off. Like,
I want a fresh batch. Like I don't want all the baggage. I want new interpretation. Someone said that they actually, I heard someone had a theory that like we won't see Wolverine for a long time because we so fixate on Wolverine so much. Why don't we just start this from a completely different perspective? And Marvel has done a great job of making characters that are not the top characters. So we might as well
entire thing.
Yeah, we might as well do that. And I want to see that stuff come in. I want that to be fun. I really want John Krasinski. I can't get that up right now, but anyways, I really want him to and Emily Blunt, like the two of them, to come in as a pair.
Yes.
We don't get to see them act together very much, as in like one movie, and that was amazing. And I would love to see more of it. So yeah, bring it on. Like I'm kind of dope. Or dope. I am dope, but
you are dope.
but no, I'm excited to see whatever they bring, and I just want it better like, and I don't think it will be, but in the past, sometimes you want things to get big, and it feels like a half step, a quarter step to how big you want it to be. I just want this thing to like blow open the MCU so that we can just get a whole lot of stuff, and it doesn't feel gradual as much anymore. And I think that they've done a lot of that recently. Like, just the whole like I've been seeing a lot of videos talking about the ending of Eternals. Like as much as like like literally one of the videos said Spider-Man took so much attention away. We forgot that there is a Eternals head in hand sticking out of the side of the planet. It's so big that it would actually, if it was like geologically correct, destroy the entire ecosystem and have already killed us all. Right? So it's like the fact that there's a giant sticking out of the planet now is cause for conversation. And we're only talking about how this boy can't remember his girlfriend right now. like in perspective, the Eternals problem is far bigger than anything that happened in Spider-Man No Way Home, like literally. So I'm just saying that like they've taken that step. There's no reason why in Doctor Strange we don't just open this thing up. And the fact that Kevin Feige said that there's never going to be another Avengers anymore means that like, well, let's just open this thing up and make it all kinds of new stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we don't need another Avengers movie.
No, but we won't get another Avengers team. Essentially, like we'll get new
I
teams.
don't think we need one.
Yeah,
I think it's like I think now if they're gonna try and introduce the mutants, they should focus on the X-Men, doing the X-Men right, and then focusing on other teams, right?
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, getting those obscure teams more well known. Because I'll be honest, I didn't know much about the Avengers until the Avengers movie came out. Like I knew of the individual characters, I just wasn't very familiar with like who was on the Avengers. Because like back in the day, there was like an old Avengers cartoon, and Iron Man wasn't a part of it. It was like Hawkeye, it was like Wonder Man, Vision. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So it was like that was Avengers to me, and then now all of a sudden it's like Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, and all of them, right? So I was like, okay, I have no idea what's going on now. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on. Our next topic is the release of Jordan Peele's recent film trailer, Nope. It was released, I think, like earlier this week or this past weekend, and I would consider it a teaser. But like for me, I would say that it looks promising, but it's not a lot for me to go on right now. So I am glad the fact that seeing that Steven Yeun was in there, and also seeing Daniel he's in the, I don't know his
Kaluuya.
Yeah. I hope I'm not saying that wrong, but yeah, like seeing those two in there was pretty nice. But like again, like I don't know what else to say besides the fact that I'll give it a try. Now, to be fair, it took me a lot to watch Get Out because I was, everyone knows I'm not someone who likes horror. And like, it literally took you to be like, guys, it's not horror, it's thriller. So I watched it, I loved it, but I haven't watched Us. Or wait,
what?
No.
Yeah, it's Us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Guess what we're doing? Guess what we're doing tomorrow, bro?
Yeah.
No.
That's what we're doing tomorrow, bro.
Bro, you got to give it it's a good movie, man. You can handle it. I'm telling you. You got to watch it.
Yo, you can't go into this movie not watching that one because I feel like he's setting up a universe.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
No.
Yeah, bro, I'm just saying, it's Us. We can do it.
Okay, so we got a comment from Courtney saying this is the first. Oh come on, this is the first time I ever wanted to see a scary movie because I'm such a chicken. Haha, this looks great. Really, A2, Courtney?
Yeah,
support on that one.
Bro, I mean, Courtney out here even saying she want to get in on it, man. Don't put Courtney's stronger than you right now, bro.
Well, that is definitely true. But like, all right, Darcy, what do you think of the trailer?
Yo, my comment was literally this. You sent it in like in the bros chat, and I was just like, "Yep." Movie's called Nope. I'm a yep. Like, put it this way, my woman loves scary movies, and I'm not a big scary movie person in general, but when it's Jordan Peele, I'm going. I don't care. Because, like, Get Out, amazing. Us, not, like if Get Out is a 10 out of 10, Us is like an 8.5 to, like, 9, right, for me? Yeah. But the thing is that, like, after how he ended Us, that man is setting up a universe, but it's either going to be a universe it's weirdly interconnected, like Black Mirror is weirdly interconnected, or it's going to be like a proper universe that we're just going to like unfold over time. I feel like it's going to be Twilight, Black Mirror-ish, where there's connection, but there are a bunch of independent stories.
Stephen King.
Yeah, but I still want there to be like a strong connection he reveals over time, because if there is, and what he's doing with it, it's going to be like, and every movie is like thriller, homage to some other horror movies and thriller genre movies, and then racism layered into it. Like, it's always layered in very well. And so I'm just want to be like, if he just builds this thing, and it's like he like takes all of these like true things that have happened to Black people and then finds a way to make an analogy out of them in a thriller horror movie. It's just like, it's just so smart. Like Get Out, literally my partner and I watched it, and then we're first off like, oh, it was good, and then it was just me and her having a 45 to like hour and a half minute conversation just about the concepts in the film, right? And so, yeah, 100%. It's Jordan Peele. My answer is always yep. Until I start seeing a consistent slide downhill that like makes me go, I don't know anymore. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, so I'm all the way in.
All right, T.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jordan Peele is a genius. He's a visionary. I love what he's doing with this. He's basically paving the way and creating, like Darcy said, his own universe, which I think is fascinating to me, because I know that at one point he was attached to take on the new generation of the Twilight Zone. Like, I think they were trying to bring that back, and for whatever reason, I don't know if they've scrapped the idea, if it's still in development or whatever. I don't know if he's still attached to it at all, but I feel like this in itself, kind of like what Darcy was alluding to, is kind of like a Twilight Zone-ish type of universe. And I feel like with him creating it the way that he is, he has a lot more freedom to build and expand on something, rather than being confined to that of the Twilight Zone and the stories that unfold within that. Obviously, there would still be original stories, but I feel like you still kind of have to stay within a certain parameter when it comes to that property. Whereas with Jordan Peele, he can go as far left with this material as he wants to, and the fact that he's integrating a lot of like these strong narratives when it comes to just like Black history and things of that nature. I think that's genius, and he's taking a very unique horror spin on it, which is very interesting. I've never seen something quite like this before, and it speaks volumes, and so I really appreciate that. And it's interesting. I have no idea what the fuck this movie's about, but
I think an alien invasion
could be. It's hard to say, man. I don't know. But from what we've gotten from Jordan Peele so far, I have thoroughly enjoyed. Like Get Out, I loved. I actually thought it was like some kind of a parody, and given that Jordan Peele comes from a comedy background, like he was on Mad TV, that's exactly what I thought it was. I didn't even know it was a real movie. I saw the trailer and I was like, is this like a joke, like a commercial for something? And then I realized it was an actual movie, so I was like, oh, okay. And then I went in not really knowing what to expect, thinking it was going to be a comedy. And yeah, there's funny moments in it, but definitely not at all what I anticipated it to be. And then I had to rewatch it again, and I got a whole new level of appreciation for the movie, having seen it a second time. And then Us is like on like another level. Like, it's not as good as Get Out, but yeah, I agree with Darcy. I feel like he is setting something up, and similar to how like they did with Black Mirror, where like if you start to watch like the later episodes, they have little Easter eggs that within episodes that are from previous episodes or previous seasons. So I think this is kind of what he's doing, and like it's a type of movie where you have to, like, as he starts to kind of build his catalog of movies, you have to start really paying attention and seeing who or what shows up in reference to something else. I think all of this is going to come back full circle, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah, I also want to throw one thing about that statement about us, where it's like it's on a different level, but it's not as good. Is like the way that like my partner had said it, which I think summarizes it well. It's not as good from being as much of a conversation starter and the
Right.
psychological mind bender that the first one was, and the conversation started about race. Whereas the second one still has race as a layer to it, but it's a different piece,
Yeah.
and it ends up being. But like, put it this way: when did Us come out? Like 2019, probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
Only in the last couple months did the theme song to that movie my girlfriend get over it. Like, she couldn't listen to. If I ever wanted to annoy her, I just play the original song from that, and she'd be like, "No, turn it off," because it would like, and she was watching it again recently, like a month ago. She was watching that movie again, and she's just enamored with it,
Bro, I remember when you, me, and Reyes watched that, and like that walk home was like creepy as fuck, man. Because it was like late at night, we were watching it, and we were just like, "Yo, what did we just watch, man?" Like I'm not even gonna lie, like, or I probably shouldn't say this because we're trying to get Umar to watch it. But I'm not gonna lie. Like the first night, I had problems sleeping, guy. I'll admit I was a little freaked out because like the character, what's her name? I can't remember her.
The main character.
But yeah, she does such a great job at portraying that. Well, both characters, but yeah, and the voice that she made, like the tethered, like she did such a phenomenal job and so convincing. Like I've never seen her in that kind of a role before. So
Lupita Nyong.
yes, her. She is fantastic in this movie. And creeped the fuck out of me, bro. Like when you hear her and you see her, and just like the things that she does with her eyes and her movements, like, is very jarring.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
Yeah, and then when they like bring in the discovery of what the film is actually about.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing about Jordan Peele's films is like, okay, it's a house invasion at the beginning. You're like, okay, and then you see like in the trailer, you're like, they're themselves.
Yeah.
What? And then you're like, and then when they reveal like the final like location, and you're like seeing everything, you're like, this is so crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's almost as good of a conversation as the first film, but it's not quite, because there's a level of like in the first one it's more about what we do to each other in reality, and this is something that doesn't happen in reality but is based off of things that feel like it actually happens in reality, and it brings you other questions. You're like, does this happen in reality though? Like
Yeah.
it makes you feel certain ways. But yeah, can we get a comment and a like in the chat for anybody who wants Umar to see Us tomorrow when we all hang out as the bros?
Not happening, man.
Yeah, can we just get that comment right now? Let us know.
You still owe me for it, bro. So
Well, I'm sorry. I said I would watch it when you planned it. I was not going to plan it.
yeah, well, what if I just switched it up and we watched Us instead?
Yeah,
pick your poison, bro. It's either It Part 2 or Us.
Yes, pay us back. Yeah.
Moving on.
Oh, you watching that movie, bro?
So, another release trailer that came out this week, which was a little unexpected for me, was The Boys Presents Diabolical. This is going to be an animated series that's going to be released on Amazon, and it's basically like a animated spin-off of The Boys. It's going to have like a whole bunch of people like writing for it and voicing it, not the people from the TV series, though I think a couple of people are coming back. But like, I think what's his name? I keep thinking Jake Peralta, but it's oh my god.
Yeah,
and Andy Samberg.
Oh, okay. So the real guy. I was
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, Andy Samberg and like the people from Lonely Island, and I think Aquafina even, like they're all writing for it, and I think also voicing for it too. So like, I want to see the one that written by Aquafina because I'm loving her right now.
Aquafina's amazing.
Yeah. So this trailer came out and it looks fucked up. I was watching. I'm like, what is happening right now? But they have like different episodes that is going to be written by different people and voiced by different people, but also different animation styles are going to
Yeah.
be shown. So it's kind of like what you call it, the Animatrix, or the Batman Gotham Knight sort of thing. So it's going to be 8 episodes long, and I think it's all going to be released on the same day at the beginning of March. I think it's going to be like Friday, March 4th, if I remember correctly, right after Batman. Anyway, so I wanted to get your opinions on it. Like, I just thought it was fucked up, but like I'm still interested to check it out. But what do you think, T?
I'm like on the fence right now. I didn't feel like we needed this.
I agree.
I'm a little intrigued, but I'm more excited for the live action version. I wasn't ready to get an like a cartoon version of The Boys just yet. But I am curious to see where they go with this and like if it has a purpose. If like I mean, is it going to be tied into the live action? I guess yeah, they'll probably like it'll give them an opportunity to kind of like give backstory. So if that's the case,
Maybe,
then
yeah.
that piques my interest a little bit more. But if they're just random one-off stories that happen in real time in between what we've already seen, I don't know how interested I am in that regard. So yeah, I mean, I'll still give it a chance. I mean,
Yeah.
I gave Invincible a chance, and that's one of my favorite shows, right? So yeah, I'll give this one a shot. But yeah, I'm not super excited about it. No pun intended.
Darce?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, it's definitely not something we asked for or felt like we needed. But I mean, they're gonna bank that money between the like, because it's the same creator for both Invincible and The Boys, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Like
pretty
I
sure it
believe
is.
so.
Yeah, but anyways, even if I'm wrong, yeah. So it's like take the 2 best properties that Amazon has and just like boom, boom together. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm gonna watch it unless I hate like the first episode or something like that. I'm gonna watch all of it. You know it's gonna happen because I watch other things and that are of lower quality. Yeah, the different animations between different episodes is that always kind of throws me off a bit. But we'll see.
All right.
Like all of this just kind of seems really campy. So
Yeah.
it's kind of turning me off a little bit.
Yeah, like
This
this
looks like
image,
it's gonna be like
not
a
feeling
violent
that.
campy
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was fast. Moving on.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into like the meat of what we wanted to talk about this tonight, and that is the latest, or no, I should say not the latest because we didn't. It's not going to be multiply redone, but the remake for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air sitcom, Bel-Air on Peacock, has been released this week. I think they released the first 3 episodes, and I think the 4th episode came out recently as well. Anyway, so I hella want to talk about this and also like what we all thought. I'm gonna save mine for the end because Mr. Tactix has been remarkably quiet even when it came to the like talking about the trailer for this show. So T, have you watched the first like 3 or 4 episodes?
I'm caught up. I've seen all 4 episodes.
Okay, what do you think?
Okay, so I've seen your comments and you guys have expressed that you guys are really into the show, and I don't blame you. I actually like the show. However, there's a caveat. There's stuff that kind of I'm like, okay, I can adjust, but for me, I find myself asking, I'm like, okay.
Oh, spoilers, by the way. We're going to talk like
spoilers.
full-fledged.
Obviously, this show is riding on the shoulders of the original, the actual Fresh Prince of Bel-Air sitcom, right? That we all grew up with Will Smith, that we all grew up, that we all know and love, and it obviously holds a special place in our hearts for different reasons, right? So I find myself often asking, I'm like, okay, if it weren't for that nostalgia, and if we strip away what it's associated with, and this was not Bel-Air, this was just some other show, would I still be as interested in this show? Probably not. But then again, it's not really a fair question to ask because, again, it is a remake. It's a reimagining of The Fresh Prince, right? So I kind of like disregarded that and just tried to embrace the show as it is. And certain things I'm kind of like Jeffrey's a gangster. I'm like, oh okay. It's like he's just out here like making calls, making hits and shit. Like I'm like, all right. So like yeah, it's a little jarring for me to kind of wrap my head around some of the changes that they've made. But yeah, there's enough.
I knew that you're gonna have a problem with that.
I was just like, that's so fucking random. Like, I'm like, what is going on? But I'm like, all right, I'll drink the Kool-Aid. You know, Carlton's just a fucking dick. Like, just a dick. Like, he was a dick before, but now it's like there was always like a likable quality about Carlton from The Fresh Prince, and now it's just like I hope you get shot. Like, I'm just like, you're just a bad person. Like, you're terrible. And then on top of that, he's got a drug addiction problem too. Like, so not to say that these are necessarily bad things. It's just, it was just a lot for me to digest. So I'm kind of like, I find myself there's definitely no comparison. So let me preface this right now, but I feel like there a lot of like, I guess you call them like producers or whatever. They're trying to take everything in a more serious route. Like case in point with Riverdale, right? They try to take like a lighthearted property, Archie Comics,
right,
and then make that a more dark. Like,
are you comparing Bel-Air to
again? I just said I'm not comparing. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. I'm just saying that there seems to be a trend, and I feel like this is the standard that they're going to start doing, where they're going to start taking other properties, and they're like, okay, we're going to take this lighthearted show, and we're now going to make this a more serious thing. Like, Saved by the Bell is now going to be like Saved, where it's about high school students finding Jesus. You know, Family Matters is going to turn into like, you know, like Family Matters is going to start to become like Black Families Matter. Or something like that. And then, you know, sister is going to be like pronouns, like she, her, or something like that. I don't know. Like, but it just feels like they're like, that's the trend that they're setting now. And I'm like, oh okay. So
bro, you made two pitches there that I'm like, actually like,
yo, no, I'm not
like she, her. I'm like, that's actually not a bad name.
yeah, I actually really like it.
She, her, they, you know, like, am I wrong?
But okay, overall, there's enough, like I said, there's enough there for me to be invested in the show. It's just because The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has such a special place in my heart. Like, I grew up on that show. I love that show. It was full of comedy, but then it also had its serious moments as well. And now this is more of a dramatic show, so it's like, okay, I have to kind of disassociate my passion for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and remind myself that this is a fresh new take. This is a drama show. So yeah.
Okay. Before we go on and listen to Darcy, T.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not see a similarity between how you're reacting to this TV series from its source material, from how I tend to react from comic book adaptions?
Yeah, I can see that, but I've never had an issue with you reacting that way. I just like what I like.
Okay, hold up. I recall before we watched Batman v Superman that you kept calling me a hater for a year.
That was before I saw the movie, and then I saw the movie, and I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying, bro. So, what is your argument?
I'm just teasing because I'm enjoying being on the other end of this reaction.
No, because okay, but that's a good point though, because like, okay, so like, let's take Batman v Superman as a terrible example, but let's take The Dark Knight for example, right? Where it obviously it's not a cover to cover iteration of the comics, but they're taking elements that are good or appreciated, and they're putting it into into the movie, right? I just hope that they do that. It seems like they're doing that a little bit. Like there's I'm catching some of the references, but I guess I just want like more of it.
You want the characters to be more what you're used to.
To a point. I mean, I really love what they did with Hillary. I was hoping that they wouldn't dumb her down like they did in the show. Obviously, in the show, for a show like that, it definitely works. But I think in this day and age, like, to see especially black women represented in that way is not a good look, and that wouldn't go over well. So I love the fact that she's represented as a strong, smart entrepreneur woman, and I think that needs to be highlighted way more, right? So I like what they did with Hillary. So that I'm okay with the change. Carlton, I'm still getting used to that whole thing, man. But yeah. Like he's like top dog in his school. Like I'm like, whoa. But okay, I understand the spin. Like they're trying to like make it so, you know, he was top dog and then Will comes in and just fucks everything up. So that's an interesting spin on everything. So I'm liking the references. It's a good show. I had initially, but I'm warming up to it. Like I said, there's enough there for me to stay invested in the show. I don't know if it'll continue into the second season, but I'm willing to give it a shot still. So yeah.
Darcy?
Oh man, I can't lie. I got a little fueled by some of the stuff that you said.
Bring it.
Yeah, no. So let me just not respond to Tactix and say my piece first. So first episode for me was a little rough. Pilot. It was rough from the perspective of my expectations and like how it would feel. And at first I was like, I don't know if these are quite the people, the characters, but then it started to really warm up to me really quickly in the second episode. By third episode, I'm in love. Fourth episode, I love it. The thing that I truly appreciate is how many references they're making, and I'm seeing them in all kinds of ways. And I don't mean just overt references like this. So, you know what? I can't. I gotta go right into like semi responses. So the one thing, Tactix, I got to throw here right away. Okay, that you may have forgotten or not realized this happened. The guy who pitched the original trailer on YouTube for this concept is actually the person that Will Smith put in charge of directing this show and built a team around him to actually build the show. So as much as like there is the trend of doing darker, this wasn't one of the ones where they were like, hey, studio just wants to do this. This actually came from an actual brother who looked at the original show and had this idea to say like, yeah, but I want to tell it like in our real world now. And so when I look at the show and I was like, the fact that they're like, if they wanted to make this a 90s show, like literally like a remake at the exact time the original show happened, then there's a lot of things that I think logically they could have kept similar about the characters. But since they brought it into 2021, 2022, like whatever, you know, arguably, there were so many things fundamentally different. Like I was looking at Hillary and she had the entrepreneur, and I love how, like, for instance, when she became an entrepreneur in the original show, she was a caterer. So they started here, but if you actually think about what's happening now, food, TikTok, and Instagram is huge, right? Like that is a thing that is very, very current. And yet, like, there's all these references back to like that version of her character. So Carlton is definitely the one character that's like the hardest pill to swallow. But when I look at it, I'm like, so he was popular in his school before. He was a geek, but he was a popular amongst a bunch of geeks. In this one, you take it to current day and like whatnot. It makes sense that he was this confident individual. And then I love like when I was watching the behind the scenes stuff, he's like, Carlton is a prince. and this is the Fresh Prince, and that's the conflict between them. And that's a little bit difficult because we liked the dynamic they had, but I feel in the 4th episode they're starting to build there. But hold up. Like I got so many thoughts running through my head. Okay. So all right. Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv are probably the most similar to their original characters in their role, but without as many flips. But I love, like, there's too much I like about this fucking thing. I
Go to
can't
town, bro. Go to town.
I can't get it all out because there's so many thoughts I have. Like, okay, fact he's running for district attorney, that was like an arc from the original. How they're using that as a thing to create
a judge.
He went for a judge. Yeah, okay, but the same similar idea of running and having to become something. And then the conflict that Aunt Viv had at one point when she wanted to go back to her dancing, they have that in the art, but they're expanding her character and layers that we don't know. I like how Will has a closer bond to Hillary than Ashley because that makes a lot of sense, especially with him navigating a new world. And we're actually seeing the world that he's navigating versus just being something that's talked about in the home and in a sitcom. And I like the flip of Ashley being interested in girls. I like that. Just it's just a nice little flip. I like that Jeffrey is like one Jamaican, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and like that's just fun. And two,
he's gangster.
It gave me Alfred vibes, like
Alfred Pennyworth. Like
yeah.
But if you if you think of the 90s, right? Like it didn't. I mean, shit was still violent back then, but it didn't feel like when I was growing up in the 90s that you would need somebody to protect you the same way. But Banks is a flippin' like multi-millionaire. He would have someone who protects him, and he wouldn't just be a butler. Like he wouldn't just like the butler concept, especially a black family having a black butler in the 90s was funny. Now would just be like, the fuck is this? Right? It's like, yo, nigga, you just gonna keep your slave around the house like that? Like, what the fuck is that shit? So the fact that he's like a house manager and more is a big deal. Also, let's throw this out here. The fact that the main character's last name is Banks is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, his real life last name is Banks. I was like, shit. Yeah. Hillary is the best flip character. Like
I love the levels they gave her.
I
love Jazz too. I love what they did with Jazz.
And the fact that like they're building a chemistry, and I'm like, that's a great reference. But Hillary's like still facing the same problems in a different way. She's still a woman who had everything given to her in terms of like the riches and is struggling to move out and have her own independence. She's just not an airhead, right? Yeah. You know, and there's just, I love a lot of this because there's so much just in smart of how to rewrite it, but at the same time, there's so much there's so many nods. Jazz has a record store, and the original Jazz also had records and was a DJ, and like there's so much I love. I'm loving the show. I'm looking forward to episode 5. I'm excited. I can't get it all out. I'm sorry.
I'm going to give my review, but I first want to go to the comments. So Ron R. was saying, I've not watched it yet, but I'm wondering, do you think they made it a darker version because they knew that nothing can compare to the original and it would tank if they try to make it the same?
I think that's exactly what happened.
I would say that because like based on what Darcy was saying about to make it like a separate entity as if we never saw the original. Right, okay. I would say that the main guy who did the trailer that Will Smith found, I think for him, like I think there's an element of that, but also to do something like fresh and make it realistic as opposed to darker. I think this show is not technically darker. I think the world is like the world inherently is dark. So
it's more real.
Yes.
Like
making it real makes it dark.
Yeah, like with the Fresh Prince, like you have to kind of suspend a little bit of disbelief in the world that they set up, because like some of these conversations wouldn't happen, right? But we were young and naive and we didn't know any better. Now it's kind of like, okay, there are certain things that you can't we would just kind of laugh it off and be like, yeah, even for the 90s, this is super unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's like I think you're right though, Umar, because I think when you look at something like Full House, for example, and then they brought it back as like Fuller House, where it was just a continuation of that. Like it was the same format, but just now with the kids of Danny Tanner,
Yeah.
taking over and their story and their life and how that whole thing unfolds. And it was the same kind of campiness. It never really evolved past anything, past the original.
It's holding on to the original.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so like my review is that I found the first episode jarring, and I was kind of like, I'm not liking. Like for example, I didn't like Uncle Phil at first, and like for most of the episode, I'm like, this is bullshit. But like when he pulled Will out of the car and then had his talk with him, and like I remember, I loved like, James Avery. You can never replace him in any respect. So I think he was the hardest holdout I had. That I'm like, this guy has to be like at the level of James Avery, and that's just not fair to anyone. But at the same time, I wanted the characterization to be the same, and that's also not fair because what he did was I remember in the first episode when Will was like giving him crap and when he called him like a sellout and like saying that he went soft, and he goes to him, he's like, you think you're so wise, and then like Will turns around, he's like, look at me when I'm talking to you, and I still remember that. And like they did the same thing in the first episode, and he did it gentler.
Yeah.
And and a little bit superior. There was an element of superiority there, but like he took him by the face and turned him like a parent would. And it's like a man knows that he also has to look another man in the eye when he's speaking to him. And I was just like, and like I started tearing up at that moment, and I'm just like, fuck. And I still every now and again I still get kind of like thrown off by Uncle Phil, and it's just that I love James Avery too much.
Yeah.
That I think that's going to be a constant struggle for me because like I need to redefine the character with this guy, and that's the problem. Like I'm not really seeing it with this guy. I saw it a little when he did the pledge because it reminded me of that episode where Uncle Phil found out that one of his oldest friends was actually using Will to bribe somebody.
Oh yeah, and then they had that little dance sequence. Yeah.
And I'm just like that. It kind of reminded me of that too. So I'm like, and like you said, Darcy, like the nods are there, and it's not like CW where it's like
like bringing the nod sign.
Yeah, it's like reference. This is like, no, we know you've watched it, and we're gonna respect the source material, but we're just gonna do it our own way. And it's like, so you know what they're referring to, and I actually started really liking it. On Viv, I thought that I was gonna have a problem with, but I actually started to really like.
I feel like she's a combination between of the original
I was
and
just gonna say
like
that.
at times it'll be like light skin Aunt Viv, and then the dark skin Aunt Viv will kind of showcase a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. That's interesting.
And
I like that.
And I love that because
Yeah.
it's like we're not gonna choose an Aunt Viv.
No.
We're just gonna do both.
Yeah.
And I would say that Hillary, I was the most impressed with because like I like the fact that they're showing she is spoiled. I like the fact that she knows her how to like work with people because she's been in the industry, and they reference her culinary skills and the fact that she's proud of it versus ashamed of it. And I like the fact that she's also I love the way the parents were talking, Aunt Viv's friends and her were talking about this generation. It's like, yeah, they don't have the same struggles, but then also it's like they also don't swallow the pill the way we do. Like they swallow smaller pills, but they don't do the big ones. And I'm just like, that's actually interesting. So I'm really loving that. Unlike you guys, I actually found that Carlton made the absolute most sense. Like he is what Carlton would be in the real life, because when I rewatched the series, I remember that Carlton was an asshole in the first season. And also like in the later seasons, like it was more jokey because he was more of a dork, but like he was a full-fledged Republican, and to have like a full-fledged like Republican in nowadays who's black is going to cause a lot of problems with other black people. And like I like the fact that like they actually had that conversation in the 4th episode, and I'm just like, holy shit. And so yeah, so I'm like I hate him. Don't get me wrong. I hate Carlton. but I also love what they've done with him, because I'm like, they did not shy away. This is what Carlton would be if they modernized and made him realistic. This is what Carlton would be, and I'm like, oh. Ashley, they haven't really given much for her to do, but I like the fact that they've started to, and also that she kind of has her own thing. Jeffrey, I was like, because like in the first episode, I was like, and then in the recent episode, I was like, I'm just like, okay, well we went there.
Jeffrey's not to be fucked with, man.
No.
And
he a bad man.
Like him, just like kind of like when he goes to Will, it's like, don't bother your aunt, don't bother your uncle, it's taken care of.
Yep. I also like, because like it was always funny with the original Jeffrey is like you find out he's like a ladies' man, and so I love when like the Aunt Viv's like friend comes through. He's like, oh, I'm just trying to keep up with you, and it was just and everyone had like pause and watch him flirt, and you're like, that's old Jeffrey right there.
Oh, and also, okay, so it didn't occur to me until like I think this past episode 4. Trey is Don Cheadle's character.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Ice
oh
Tray.
my god, Ice Tray.
Yeah.
And I was like, and because like when he said, I'm bringing you out, I'm like,
he kind of looks like him too, like from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I also have to say, like, while I found like after after he arrives in Bel-Air to be jarring, I found the first like 20 minutes of Bel-Air of the first episode to be really captivating.
Yeah. His mom is I feel his mom's improved too, because
yes.
and the overall like
I always loved Vi, but like she was always kind of like just like an angry mom.
Yeah, but I also had another problem with her in the original, and it just has to do with like the general writing, but it's that like and the consequences of his actions of what he did, and then how this is playing out is big and important, because in the first one it was kind of like he got into a fight and his mom just like sent him away, and it always made his mom feel like she
didn't love him.
Yeah, she didn't love him, but she loved him, and it was kind of weird. Whereas this one's like you completely empathize, you feel the pain and the choice she is making, what she has done for her son here. You feel good about it. And the other one just felt like an abandoned character. And then like later on when she like is getting married in the original show, it's like, oh, you're never gonna be with me. Like, she never would you now. like what is changing, right? Like, and whereas this one I feel it, and I feel like the mother, she just improved in every aspect.
And I always remember in the first season, like Will was like, I know everyone says that he was teasing Carlton a lot, but I'm like, Carlton first of all got him like suspended, and almost got him kicked out, and also was always making fun of who he was, and also the fact that he was like uncultured and uneducated. So it was just like not Will attacking him. It was like both ways. But I also found the fact that like Aunt Vi never really got involved in any of that. But in like the second episode, she calls up Viv and is like, what the fuck did your son just do to my son? I sent him there to be like, to have an education, to be safe. And he almost kills him, and we're just going to like just not talk about that? So I was like, that's a mom. A mom would do that when her son is all alone out. And I'm like, yes. Also, I'm really liking Lisa. I never liked her in the original.
Yeah, she's improved. She's improved a lot. Yep.
Also, is Will's basketball friend, is that Cornflake?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was like, there's so many character references from just like random little things. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that and I was like, yeah, that's Cornflake, isn't it?
Yeah, because like his last name is Kellogg, and that's why I called him Cornflake, right?
Yeah. I forgot his name was like the name was Cornflake, but I knew which character it was. Yeah. I mean, Cornflake, Kellogg. I mean, what else could it be? What else? Who else could he be? Like, I honestly think that this show will go down when it's done. If it doesn't tank its like finale or anything like that, I think the show will have on YouTube the same thing like the MCU gets in terms of Easter eggs, because an episode by episode Easter egg on this show is got to be like a 10-minute video at least,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of micro references everywhere.
I also have to say, like, so I was really enjoying the show, and I knew Darcy was kind of liking it. I had no idea what Tactix was feeling, but I wanted to check what the reviews were saying, and I gotta say I'm a little disappointed with how the reviews are coming out. Like like Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 66, and it gave like Gotham and Arrow like in the 80s and 90s.
Motherfucker.
I'm just like,
Okay,
what?
but give it time, because I like I said, I like the show. It's just it's taking me some time to warm up to it completely, because I still have an attachment to the original. I'm not saying like nothing, any of the gripes that I've mentioned
Yeah.
prior to your reviews, it's not against the show. Like, I have no issues with the show.
You're with the
itself.
concept. It's the concept.
It's the concept that I'm having a hard time warming up to, and it's just a matter of me just letting go of the original and taking this in with a fresh pair of eyes. And I think that's the issue that a lot of other people are having with this, because it's very well written. Like, you know what I mean? So I just think that people went in with certain expectations, and now they're kind of like, okay, this is not what we're used to. This does not feel like the Fresh Prince at all, because they do take some liberties. Yes, they have a lot of micro references, which are great, but you know, this is its own story in a sense.
I will say that, like, you're being a lot kinder than I would be. Like, for me, I'm like, I feel like these are. I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably be canceled for this comment, but I was like, I feel it's the same way as how things went with Eternals. I felt it's a bunch of like people not understanding a people of color show and choosing to rag on it, and that's the nicest way I could put that.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a level of one, people not getting, like, let's give if we give everyone the benefit of the doubt, the first thing would be just like they're comparing it to the original, and then two, yeah, there's definitely a bunch of people who could be like, yeah, I just want to be entertained by the black people. I don't want to watch them talk about the problems.
Yeah, but they got to know that something like this, based off of the trailer alone, is not going to be catered to. It's going to be catered to a specific type of audience. I feel you're either a fan of the original show, or you're a lot more open to the subject matter that they're covering.
That's true, except for lots of people don't discover shows through their trailers, right? Like, a lot of people, like, even though there might be a trailer on like an Apple TV page or whatever, you know, when you're flipping through it,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people, especially people who aren't, you know, aren't anywhere near the culture, who would very much be like, Bel-Air, what's that? Click, right? And then that's like their introduction will be episode 1, 000, right? Like that's their whole understanding of the show, which is totally great. Like, you know, people just be like, hey, what's this? And click and watch, right? You don't have to like learn about something in advance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, for the people who you know, they're just like, this is not Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and you know, I don't want to see that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, nonetheless, okay. But just as a finishing touch, since I said that Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 66, let's give our ratings so far. T, what would you give it out of 10?
I'll give it a 7. So far.
Okay. Darce?
8.
8 for me.
No.
All right. Moving on to our final topic, and we are going to talk about the recently finale, basically, and also the season as a whole, Peacemaker. So the Peacemaker had its season finale yesterday, and it has also been renewed for a second season, much to my surprise, because I thought it was going to be a one-season show only. But yeah, so we got the final 2 episodes, and I'm gonna ask my bros. Darcy, let's start with you, man. What did you think of the season finale?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a word right out of John Campia's book. I think they stuck the landing. This is a good like finale to a season, which, you know, definitely something to be worried about. The action was awesome. Vigilante was like, okay, Vigilante can fight.
Yeah.
like when Tactix referenced before that like he's a badass when we saw him in the prison, I was like, yeah, I agree, you know. But I'm like, I felt personally like Tactix hyped it so much, and then I watched it and I was kind of like, oh, you know, like, you know, it was good. Now I fully got to see everything from the Vigilante. That made me like, yes, like he was just like, your legs going, your head's going, your arms going.
And this motherfucker doesn't die. Like, there's so many times
He got shot in the back.
series, I thought this guy was finished. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess they're gonna kill him off. And no, he just gets right back up. He got blown up and just walked that shit off. I was like, what the fuck?
I love how he did. Like when he tossed the grenade, I'm like, is he gonna move? I'm like, he didn't move, and then he got back up, and it was like, I'm gonna drive a car. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I think actually, I remember he referenced in one of the episodes, he said he like didn't have pain receptors or something like that. So he's like, so he just does these things because he's like one, non-empathetic. He's a complete like psychopath,
He's
right?
a complete psychopath.
And two, he like lacks pain receptors.
Still, you should still be dead. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't disagree.
I love
take
Ed when he's like in the hospital and just like leading.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the fights were awesome. The episode was like, it went from being like a hot action, quirky and funny, to even having a deeply emotional moment with what's his name, the Economo, having to like confess his like inner demons about why he dyes his beard, and like I'm like, yo, like this is all over the place. I also really appreciated the fact that like, so they brought back the theme music in like their big finale battle, and then they like added an audio effect that I'm like, some people call it a slowdown, but it wasn't a slowdown. It was technically like, it's called like a flanger. But I was like, when they brought that in, I was like, yo, that was a smart way to articulate like, this shit's about to go south right now. Like, but I like, and also Adebayo or however you probably say your name, Adebayo, like I loved, and I was my one disappointment in this whole show, this whole episode, was that Peacemaker didn't say to her. So after he said he like made his like big decision and he's like human torpedo and sent her through the cow. When she came out of the cow, I was waiting for him to say, not that it was like a punny line, but I was just waiting for him to say, okay, now we're even.
Yeah,
like,
I thought that was coming too. I'm not gonna lie.
I was disappointed because I like, it was like, it's like he's like, what do I have to do to get back this friendship? And it's like, I'll send you through the like intestines of a giant alien cow. Her reaction was perfect. It's like, what the fuck? Oh yeah. Like, also let I gotta get into it right now. The cameo was like I enjoyed. Now I was pissed off because the cameo got spoiled for me because I bring up YouTube and I see this picture and it's like, by the way, I'm already spoiling stuff, but if you are not ready to hear a spoiler, you really want to close your eyes and cover your ears right now. What I'm going to say. So when the Justice League shows up, I'm like, okay. So obviously we get like we get Spider-Man, Superman, and Wonder Woman, right? And they're not like real, like the real actors are just like
the body doubled.
Yeah, body double CGIs, whatever. Cool, all good. But I just liked how like they paid off a thing that he'd been saying the whole season, like he doesn't like them, he doesn't like Aquaman, and I like how it was like, yeah, it's like, he's like, I wish people would stop talking about rumor, fucking a fish, and it's like, yeah, but it's not a rumor. Fuck you, Barry. I was like, wow. And you know what though, like it made these like, you know, popcorny like versions that we've had and brought them so tangible that it actually made like the Suicide Squad and like the rest of like the Justice League actually feel like they were in the same universe. I was like, that worked surprisingly well.
What I also liked is that like I'm gonna say this.
John Cena's a good actor.
No, yes, but no. Having Snyder versus Justice League and showing the relationship develop between Aquaman, Barry, and Cyborg actually made the scene more enjoyable.
Yeah. I also just love the fact they showed up late and then the unfazed like Peacemaker's like, you like fucking idiots. Like showing like, you're late. It's like, oh, so good. Yeah, like that right there. It just and like John Cena is a big dude. Like
He is huge.
like I'm obviously like him side by side with Aquaman, they're probably about the same size, but like height wise, I mean.
Yeah.
But like yeah, like it's just I love the show. This is up there with what was it Harley Quinn. I was trying so hard not to say Hilary Duff.
You'd have to explain that one. Man.
Yeah.
Like that's not what I'm gonna say. It's up there with the Harley Quinn animated show. Hands down the best DC show I honestly feel like we've had. Period. Like it maybe the best DC property we've had in current era. I want to say. I'm like discounting like good stuff from before, like everything with Christopher Nolan, like that era and that stuff and earlier. I'm not including that right now, but it's like the best DC stuff we've had right now. It's up there as being some of the best, like, or just superhero stuff in general. I'm not saying it is the best, but it's put itself in an upper category for me because it's just pound for pound entertainment, and it's unapologetically different. And it's not saying that it's like, oh, it's the best drama or like, you know, it can compete on the best action we've ever seen. Like it takes down Daredevil's like hand-to-hand combat. Of course it doesn't, but it's unapologetically its own thing.
Yeah.
And that freshness is just every week. I'm enjoying this. Like the very first thing we saw of this show was a dance sequence. The very first thing. And he's like, oh, this is going to be a different. Like, this
That was my exact. I was like, okay, so this is happening now.
Yep. Hands down, great first season. Stuck the landing. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait for a second season. I didn't think we were going to get one, like you said, but then I saw how they ended it. And I'm like, yep, I'm cool. Like, just continue on this. Let's do it. I'm in. Give my man the reins to DC. Let him do his thing. Let what's his name with the Batman have his universe. Like
Matt
I don't
Reeves.
mind there having
Gunn.
a Matt Reeves universe and a what's the director of this one
James
right
Gunn.
now? James Gunn. I don't mind there being like a Matt Reeves and a James Gunn universe, like two separate things, because there's no way those two overlap. They don't work at all. But I don't like having a lot going on, but I don't mind there being two universes by these two people if Matt Reeves turns out to be as good as we feel it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Because like just let him take care of the DCU that we know right now. He's got something here. He could make like the Justice League we have on screen actually work. He could make that work, in my opinion. So great first season. Let's keep it going.
Tactics.
Yeah, I gotta echo pretty much everything that Darcy said. I never thought I would be at all interested in a Peacemaker show with John Cena at the helm, but sure enough, I was surprised. I was waiting, and I believe John Campy has said this too. I was waiting for them to drop the ball because first episode I was kind of like, okay, yeah, it's all right. Second episode I was like, okay, getting a little bit better. Third episode I was like, all right, okay, now I'm in. I'm fully invested now. And then as it started to progress, I'm like waiting. I'm like, okay, like there's gonna be a moment where they shit the bed on this, and it's not gonna hold up, and every episode just kept pulling me in deeper and deeper and deeper, and to the point where I'm like, by the finale, I was like, shit. And like you, Darcy, this scene was spoiled for me as well. Like I was going through YouTube and I saw this thumbnail, and it was like Justice League shows up at the end. And I was like, that's not real. There's no, because I was almost like, because I didn't mind it because I was so in disbelief, because I was like, there's no way they got all of them to come back for this one cameo, or like I don't know if they have the budget for that. So I kind of disregarded it. And then in the chat, for people that don't know, Darcy actually wrote in the comments, "Fuck, someone on YouTube ruined the finale for me," and I was like, shit. It is true. So I was like, so that's the only bad thing I have to say about this episode. I feel like if I gone in not knowing about this scene, I would have appreciated it a lot more because it was so unexpected. But aside from that, the episode was great. I loved it. John Cena is doing so well, and I'm glad he got this. He's finally found his groove, and I'm sure it's gonna take him super far. I'm curious. I'm interested in seeing a second season, seeing where they go with this. And they could pretty much take it anywhere because there's not many people that I know who know much about Peacemaker, like the comic book. So yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of this. But yeah, great show overall. I'd give it, as for my rating, probably 8.7.
Darcy, what was your rating?
I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10 for me. It's not a perfect show, but pound for pound, it gives me a unique thing. So yeah, I love everything about it.
All right, well, I'll mildly break the mold.
As you always do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
No, I usually go big against the mold. I will say that despite myself, I'm actually really enjoying the series. I'll say that for me, it was like going strong up until the 5th episode. And then the 5th and 6th episode bothered me because it felt like more like they were trying to be funny as opposed to actually being funny. And like, they were just like weaker episodes. But then in the last episode and also the season finale, like especially like with the confrontation with his father, and then also like him like having to like, and like I really enjoyed the season finale as well. I agree, they stuck the landing on this one. I found his response to his to killing his father to be very very good. I was getting annoyed with the fact that Hardcore and him were getting like close, and I was like, oh man, don't do that. But then I'm like, they didn't actually like go fully into it, which was why I was worried that was going to happen. So I appreciated that. I actually enjoyed Adebayo being like, I'm getting a lot of moral judgment from people who kill other people for a living, and I was like, I'm glad someone said it. Okay, this is a very mild gripe that bothers me, but I didn't like how Waller was treated at the end of this episode by her daughter, like selling her out. I actually didn't like that. I was like, I feel that she would have like been able to like, get her daughter under control or something like that. But you know what? Hey, that's my gripe.
Yo, I'm just saying, you a hater if you're here supporting Waller.
I love the character. I love Viola Davis. I love the combination of the two. Just don't fuck with my Amanda Waller.
No, I kind of agree with that. I feel like Amanda Waller is the type of person who wouldn't let shit like that. Like, she always covers her bases.
Yes.
And I feel like she was caught slipping on that hard. And that's
okay.
I feel like very few people can get one over on Amanda Waller.
Yeah,
like
Batman has to work his ass off to
Yeah,
get
you know
one
what I mean?
over on her.
So yeah, that was kind of a little bit shocking for me.
Though, I mean, in all fairness, caught slipping with your daughter. I think that's logical.
No, I think that's what they're going for. It's just that I don't think that's something that would have worked. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You know, one thing that's interesting though is I was waiting the whole season for her girlfriend to turn out to be a plant from Amanda Waller.
I actually thought the same thing. I totally thought the same thing.
And I still feel like it's still possible because they when they had that moment where they saw each other at the end, I was like, who's gonna get shot in the head?
Yeah, exactly. I will say, I didn't realize it would make me laugh as hard, but like the hardest I laughed in this episode was when everyone is getting shot, stabbed, falling through the ground, getting beat up by butterflies, all that stuff. And then Economos breaks his leg.
Yeah. He looks back, he's like, what the fuck?
I died.
Yeah. The thing is like every moment before then, he's been the surprising one who saves the day. And then in this moment, he just does like the most pathetic thing possible and does it spectacularly bad.
Yeah. Sorry, it killed me, and I couldn't stop laughing. I had to pause because I was laughing so hard. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm gonna miss Detective Song. Like, I was sad they killed her, but I was kind of hoping like she'd be like a.
Yeah.
she's so
But
good.
like that actress killed it, and I really liked her. And also I even like the fact that she essentially is Peacemaker, and like even puts her hand on his face, like, you showed me kindness, you fed me, and like I wanted you to know that I come in peace. I was like,
Yeah, but in that scenario, you're talking about Goth, and then her.
no, I know, but like the character, like the actress,
Yeah.
I really liked the actress, and I loved her Detective Song, and I loved her Goth, and like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm just sad like her and Mern, all of them are gone now, and like I
Yeah.
really like those two actor and actresses.
I loved the Detective Song when she was ever faced up with the White Dragon. Like, it was. I was like,
Oh, she was
I am
awesome.
laughing too hard at this racism. I was just, and then like her partner would be like, she would like get a burn in, and her partner would say the dumbest response, and be like, "Can you not?"
And she's like, I get you're trying to you have my back, but you're not helping.
Yeah, just not at all. By the way, going back to something you said earlier, I had this thought, and I was thinking about you, Umar, when it happened. Is like when Hardcore was in the hospital, and she's like, "I heard you've been out there for days," and he was like, "Yes," and then she started tearing. I was like, and then you could see it's like she's never had anyone by her side like that. I was like, the thought went through my head was, this is earned. Right, like just this hand gesture to this point, and I was like, I knew that I'm like, Umar's probably thinking the same thing. It's like, this is actually an earned relationship, wherever this would start in the next season, because she's warmed up, but she gonna be like sliding the old DMs just off of a warm up, like it ain't gonna happen like that. But the fact is, like, he carried her and stayed with her until she came back, right? That is a big shift in her in her dynamics with other people, right? And an important statement in him, and the fact that like he showed interest in her from the very beginning, and that interest has been genuine the whole way through. And so I was like, yeah, this is as earned as the whole cameo. How many times they damn well referenced it. So yeah.
Yeah, well, they've been showcasing her progression a lot, like very subtly, but like in previous episodes, like you start to see that she's warming up to the team, because it's probably unlike any team she's ever been a part of, where it's like every man for himself kind of thing, and like these are just like a group of misfits that don't play by the typical standards, right? So it's a little out of left field for one of her soldiers to wait by her bedside to make sure that she's okay, whereas like she's probably used to like, oh yeah, if you're a fallen soldier, you're a liability now, so whatever kind of thing. So
I would say that there's two aspects of the last episode and this episode of Hardcore. First of all, I loved her fight with Judo Master.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
She handled herself on that, man.
Yeah, like I know she got fucked up by the end of it, but like that was like she fought hard, and the fact that he was punching her in the face and she was smiling when she was doing it, I'm like,
yeah, she held her own.
Yeah, the second thing was when she's talking to Leota, and she's like, so you saw an eagle hug a guy, and you took that as a sign? Why didn't you take that as a sign to, like, run away? And she's like,
fuck!
Yo, that eagle moment, though, was like, that was endearing. It was like the hug. I was like, oh, shit.
I love that too, but I gotta say my favorite is when the Eagle takes the helmet in this episode, and they all are like they're all like, go, and they're like, why did we believe this was fucking gonna work? You know, like,
yeah, it just veers off the path. Yo,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna work. I mean, the Eagles hugging Peacemaker, man. Like, nothing is too far-fetched at this point.
Yo, if you don't think an eagle can hug a human, you're just not a believer. You're just I love that shit. The hug. Oh man, I even like how it finishes. Like Peacemaker just sitting on the stoop. Goth is sitting there eating the last bit of scraps, trying to stay alive, and Eagly just sitting there staring at you. And then the White Dragon, what do you call it when you see something that's not really there? But like, yeah, not even really ghost. Yeah, like a hallucination, whatever. Is like, it's just like is chilling there. And I'm like, yeah, White Dragon's gonna be all up in the second season, just pissing them off all day long.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would ultimately, as a finishing note, I would give this season a 8 out of 10.
Nice. Solid.
Okay. Well, tossing it back to you, T. You bastard. Well, I don't know how to say it. You say it.
That's how we're ending it? Are we done? Are we finished or are we done?
We are finished.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in and listening at home or wherever you are at listening to this or watching it. Who knows? I don't know. It's not really important. But anyway, I'm your boy Tactix. This has been another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast.
Yo, it's just Darcy wondering how this outro is working.
This is Big Geek Umar. Live long and prosper, y'all. Please like and subscribe and comment below. Thanks.
Yeah. And we out.
No, we not.